Slurped it up. Take two. Forgot to hit record on the camera on the first go round. Okay. So I love the concept of producing other genres that you're not familiar with. Basically, I've got to give you a little confession. The last few weeks, especially, I had a real period of just zero motivation or inspiration to produce drum and bass. And I was still doing like little mini tutorials for drum and bass, you know, because they're easy to manage, like little bite-sized things, and you know you can quickly do it and be done with it. And I was also still making sound design patches for drum and bass, so it's kind of still making drum and bass in a sense, but not like a full like track. And I'd actually recently finished like a couple of drum and bass songs, and I'm usually really good at like getting motivation and inspiration to making D&B. Because I love it, you know, and I'm a D&B artist first and foremost. But I had this period of like 2 or 3 weeks where I just really, really felt like making a whole new drum and bass song again was like the most boring and demotivating and just terrible idea. And I couldn't think of anything worse. I was like, there was part of me that was like, come on, mate, you got to make your next D&B song. And then, but the other part of me was like, no, screw you. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go anywhere near it. Just the whole concept of like writing a whole new D&B track. I was like, oh no, I can't. I just can't have any inspiration for that right now. And that's completely normal. I'm here to let you know. But what actually, by the way, spoiler alert, I re-established my drum and bass production creativity again, but let me tell you how I did it. So while this is just how I'm like wired, basically, is first and foremost I consider myself as a someone who's just super passionate about music and sound. I love all aspects of sound and music. I just you know, not even just music, but literally listening to sounds like in nature and stuff. Like I love it when you hear like the calming sounds in nature, like the rustling of leaves and stuff when you're on like a walk, like in the middle of nowhere. Like my ear is always like listening to like the details of sound, like in music and in real life. So I'm like a massive audiophile. I just love noise, like nice noise. So that's like my first priority almost, you know. And then secondly, like I'm a massive fan of creating my own sound, producing music, doing sound design, synthesis as well. I rarely get bored of it, you know. I love to create noise. And then underneath that there sits drum and bass, which is a genre that I love to make music for. But it's like lower on the passion scale of just the general umbrella terms, you know, the general like umbrella categories of producing music in general and just loving sound in general. So actually, how I got myself back into the zone was I just went and completely produced like a randomly other genre, nothing related to drum and bass, and it really like lifted me up again. And because my heart was still desiring to produce something, but I just had no motivation to produce that specific genre, you know. But by switching to another genre, going down that road, just for like a few days or so, after that, I kind of like got inspiration to make drum and bass again, which is weird. It's like just kind of allowing myself to be like, you know, not feeling boxed into a genre and being like, no, you can create anything you want, mate, you can do it. Just allowing myself that freedom and liberty to do that helped actually reignite my passion to also then make some drum and bass again, you know. So if you're feeling like stuck with like your drum and bass, for example, or whatever genre it is, just make something completely different. I also had a student a little while ago who was like making some more dance floory jump up stuff as we were sort of first started doing lessons together. But then he showed me like it wasn't like really progressing in the way that I wanted him to for a while with his sound quality. The sound quality wasn't really like improving so well. But I noticed as he showed me he said, what do you think of this? He showed me like a sort of more soulful, liquidy track that he'd written. And I was like, wow, the sound quality on that's like so much higher than what I've normally heard. And I was like, you should just do that. Just do that for a while. Just create that for a bit. Because it clearly like, unlocking a bit more. What's the word? Just sort of unlocking more production skills and a higher sound quality by doing that. So you can always come back to doing the other kind of subgenre later, but just not do that for a while. And then he started making some like really, really sick, soulful, like more liquidy, melodic drum and bass, which was like massive, like level up from what he was trying to do before. And that's just one other case of like how just switching a genre can unlock your creative potential like so well sometimes. So if you're ever in that situation where you feel like you might be struggling with like trying to go for the same thing, then I would highly suggest doing something the complete opposite. So what I ended up doing, and I'll link the music if you want on the end of this video, because I made some like lo-fi beats, but they're like really weird. It's kind of like almost like video game soundtracky, crunchy drums, bit dark and spooky, not necessarily like relaxing, like happy lo-fi. So but I don't know why I just love listening to lo-fi to relax myself, like sometimes during the week or sometimes on like a Sunday as well, because I often go through like periods where I work like really, really hard on like projects. Like I'll be like, I really want to smash my YouTube, like make a video every day. Then I've got to teach this person here. Then I've got to do mastering here. Then I've got to produce my own music here. And I really push myself like really, really hard. So sometimes to like counteract that, I need like super like deep periods of like relaxation, you know? So I'll listen to a lot of like meditative music, like just calming sounds to like recharge my soul a little bit, you know. But one thing that also I love to listen to a lot, like in the morning when I'm just getting up, or on a Sunday when I'm just relaxing, is lo-fi music. I actually got really, really into it in the last few years. Like because I think it's because the tempo like is kind of slows your heart rate down. So I just love it. I love some of the sound design in that. And I was like listening to it at one point during this period when I had no inspiration for D&B, and I was like, I'll just make some bloody lo-fi. I'm sure I could make one of these tracks in like an hour. And so I basically just set myself a challenge to like make a couple of lo-fi tracks in like an hour or less. So I'll put them at the end of the video. I only made 2. I've come up with a little pseudonym, and I might like put them up on Spotify just for a laugh, but it's nothing to be taken seriously. Like I'm not like converting to a lo-fi producer. Like I just wanted to like re-establish. I wanted to feel like free to just produce anything that wasn't drum and bass, so I could just like get a new like refresh my love for production by just doing something random. And I'm really like inspired by old school nostalgic sounds, like the most random little things, like, you know, like the sound of a cassette player or the sound of you opening your CD Walkman, like these kind of like old school ASMR nostalgia sounds. You know, I was like, I want to make music just with old school nostalgia sounds. Like, just let me just do that for a bit, and just like feel free to do that and not feel boxed into one genre. So I just made a couple of like lo-fi beats just to basically get away from the feeling of that I am a drum and bass producer, and more into the feeling that I'm just someone who likes sound. You know, so more broad. And it ended up being like super, super fun. And I kind of like the little beats that I made. Like I did on purposely make them as quick as possible with as little effort as possible, because I wanted to feel like free to just make music and just not care. That was my goal, was just to like not be strict to myself and just not care about it, and just to like finish it in an hour and just post it up, just be done with it, you know, that kind of like just nonchalant attitude of producing a track. I wanted to feel like free to do that. So I made these 2 little beats, and shortly after doing that, I was like, I feel a bit relieved, you know, just sort of like feel relieved that I just made some like random stuff that I don't care about. It felt great, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll make some drum and bass again now. And then since then, I've actually started a new drum and bass track again, which I'm going to put a bit more care and effort and time into, and make it, you know, make a nice proper release out of it again. But just like switching to something else in music production, not taking myself too seriously, just like making some random noises and just like doing that for a little while was really, really helpful to me to like actually get myself out of this feeling of being like boxed into a genre, you know. So I would highly recommend it if you feel like you're only making drum and bass, you're only trying to like do this all the time. You're definitely gonna massively unlock new creative ideas if you just like go 180 degrees, do the other, go completely, do something else random, try like recording a rock band or like try producing some jazz just using like virtual instruments, like just the most random stuff. Have a little go in those moments, especially when you're feeling a bit like bored or a bit demotivated from being constantly on a similar trajectory. And yeah, do that for a while and then come back, and you can basically, as well, how it worked for me was it re-clarified my sort of, yeah, re-established in my mind that I am a music producer and a lover of sound first and foremost, and the genre is like a byproduct of that. But actually, just the whole like being creative was like at the priority again, you know. So anyway, I'll link these 2 tracks. Don't take them too seriously, but just in case you want to hear the beats I came up with in like less than an hour that aren't like that special, you can have a little listen now. And anyway, yeah, try different genres. Always a good idea. And much love, my G's. I'll catch up with you guys soon. Peace out.